Hello, everyone. So, what is market research? Market researchers use business, market, and customer data to influence business decisions. We do this by collecting primary data, meaning we're doing our own research to understand specific business objectives, or leveraging secondary research, which is research that has already been conducted by somebody else. Researchers use different methods depending on the business objective. In total, we call this the insights function. In some organizations, user research fits into this. In some organizations, data analytics fits into this. I've worked in research for over 10 years across CPG, financial services, and now in tech. I'm excited to share my experiences and my love for research today. I'm going to be sharing my point of view on where market research sits, how it is intertwined with user research and data analytics and customer experience, and why I think that us as research practitioners or future practitioners should be less focused on where we sit within an organization and more focused on telling a unified story. Market researchers use all types of research methods. There are traditional methods that one may think of like qualitative research and quantitative research. There's also different methodologies that you may not think about. Think of social intelligence, think of semiotics or the study of culture, think of advanced analytics. That is actually a piece of the market research function. Methods like qualitative and quantitative are a little more popular, they're more well known, and they've been proven to help change business decisions. There's often new methodologies that we're designing in AI and how to leverage AI to make decisions faster, more efficient, and potentially capture more data. So how is market research grouped, or what are the different disciplines? In my head, from my experience across 3 different industries, I think there are really 6 different disciplines within market research. Starting off with the 2 disciplines that are often thought of when you think of market research. So first off, there's brand and advertising. This is when researchers understand the overall brand landscape. Think of this as like macro brand. It is not focused on the individual product lines where they're building overall perceptions for their brand and then helping to send it out to other researchers, something like a brand health study, a segmentation. They also can be doing studies to understand different audiences, such as doing a study around millennials or doing a study around baby boomers, or maybe a study around parents. Advertising is grouped in is because sometimes on smaller teams, they are one and the same. Other larger teams, they're split into different researchers because truly there are different objectives. Advertising researchers are trying to understand how to have the most amount of impact with their marketing campaign. They're trying to have marketing effectiveness and overall brand fit. And so oftentimes they're conducting studies pre-campaign where they're doing research to understand how the campaign, or think of it like a TV advertisement, or think of it maybe a digital campaign, where they're trying to understand the storyboards, they're trying to understand the overall message of the campaign. Maybe they're trying to do research to understand which celebrities to feature. Post metrics may include understanding how well the brand performed in market. Do people know it came from your brand? Did it have any brand lift? Those types of studies are often done by a group of researchers that are on one team together. Stakeholders that this team partners with is marketing and marketing leadership. Your goal is to understand how your brand is perceived. What is your brand's reputation? How is it performing? Next, I want to talk about pricing research. These are researchers that are really proficient in quantitative research. They may still do qualitative research. However, the types of quantitative studies they're doing are conjoint studies. They're often very detailed and they're able to understand different nuances of how products should be packaged together. They're often working with business planners. They may be working specifically with product lines, and or they may be working specifically on a new business that is being developed. Next, I want to talk about customer experience. These type of researchers are focused on understanding the current experience and helping to design the future customer experience. They're often using measures such as overall satisfaction and NPS, the Net Promoter Score. These type of researchers are really influential in understanding how customers are currently perceiving the brand. Oftentimes, they could be giving those metrics to senior leaders. They could be working with sales. They could be working with marketing. They could be working with product. But their goal is truly to understand the current experience. They also could be understanding and developing a future experience. We call this journey mapping. So in whole, they could be understanding the experience, understanding the current journey map, and then designing a future journey map. This group also has a lot of opportunity to really engage with senior leaders in the business. The fourth group I want to talk about is researchers that are associated with different product lines. They're often working to help develop a specific halo of product lines or maybe one specific product line, and it really is specific to the organization. And so they work with the brand researchers to understand the master brand or the overall brand, and then how their research feeds up into the brand research, and then how the brand research is impactful into their research. Product researchers are oftentimes understanding what are the product needs, what is the jobs to be done. They're also doing research to understand what new products should be developed. So whether that is doing research around what features should be developed, what are maybe new areas of opportunities such as positionings or value propositions. Next, I want to talk about digital or UX research. And it really just depends on your company, how this is all set up. The tech industry, it is very different. So that's where some of the nuances, that's where there's a lot of confusion. But in some companies, a part of the market research practice is the UX research or digital experience function. So for example, a traditional market researcher focused in product development will understand what are the market opportunities, what are the amount of customers that may like a single idea. And then the user researchers would understand how best to design that idea and be able to go deeper and identify how to build out that specific idea. The user researchers are more often to understand a single product or a single feature and going deep and understanding that experience. Again, so much overlap. There's more similar than there are different. Finally, I'll be talking about advanced analytics. Advanced analytics practice is one that also overlaps. That's a common theme, but they also overlap with others in the research world. These are data scientists or data analytics professionals who are understanding business data, market data, and customer data. So it could be things like understanding customer retention numbers and understanding where in the customer journey individuals are not following through, understanding different points in the journey that are causing somebody to drop off. They also could be understanding telemetry and understanding which pieces of the product are pain points for the customer, or understanding what people are looking for in their experience. The overall goal of this team is to leverage large quantity of data to synthesize it and make recommendations for the business. All of these methods are inclusive in a researcher's tool belt. Think of it as the researcher is wearing the tool belt, and then when we see the problem, we are deciding which tool we should leverage. If I needed to hang a picture on a wall, a trained researcher would know you need to use a hammer and a nail. However, if somebody's not trained may choose a chainsaw. Again, that is a very extreme example. That is the type of things that researchers are trained in. Researchers are trained in understanding how big of a tool you need to use, how much you need to invest, and identifying the right research method. Sometimes researchers may favor one type of method, or the business problems they solve may lean more towards one type of method. However, it is good practice for researchers to understand how different methods work. It's good to be a mixed method researcher. Oftentimes, researchers may favor one method. However, the goal of research is to have the highest ROI, the best return on your investment. That's why all of the different research disciplines are so important, because us as researchers want the most amount of data, we want it to be accurate, and we want to be able to work in teams to solve business decisions. I hope you learned something today. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.